Hi, I got to this. I have two Kiisus here, both freshly booted. The left one is patched to the latest Kiisu release firmware, while the right one I think is running one of the older Momentums. As you can see, this one has a message about the secure enclave being damaged, while the left one doesn't. Kiisu devs just patched it out because it was an annoyance. But the interesting thing is, if we go to U2F on the right one, we can see that it connects and it works properly. I've tested it on a couple of sites. But if we go into U2F on the official firmware, it shows us a certificate error. But we can fix that. Surprisingly, all it takes is generating a few keys and sticking them in the secure enclave. As we can see from this here Flipper's documentation, there are 11 keys provisioned at the factory and one more key in slot number 11, which is the unique device key. Apparently it's generated the first time you start the device, but since our Kiisu didn't have any keys, it wasn't able to generate them. Also, they're all sequential, so if you have key number 11, you can be sure that you have keys from 0 to 10 as well. When you connect your Kiisu to the USB, you get access to the COM port. Connect to that over serial and you get the command line. The command line lets you do some things that are not available from the general menu. For example, the crypto command. It can encrypt the crypt, it can check if a slot has any key, and you can store the keys you like in the secure enclave. We're here to check if we have any keys at all, so crypto has key slot 0. Doesn't have access to slot 0 and unable to load keys, so if it's enabled then there's nothing there. Actually that incorrect or missing slot referring to slot 0 is a bad thing. As you will see further, it doesn't allow me to add any keys at all if I can't add the master key. For some reason it didn't work with Kiisu v4, but that's a pre-release Kiisu and it worked fine on v3. So I'm sure you with the more recent versions will have absolutely no problem. Also I checked it on v4a and that was the first Kiisu I did, the manual key insertion procedure, and it worked fine there. Also, I think it's a good thing to say that for now, as far as I know, these keys are permanent. So you wouldn't be able to replace them unless you desolder and resolder the microcontroller itself. So proceed at your own risk, only if you're sure. Me personally, I don't see any downsides since Flipper won't give us keys, and even if Kiisu will make their own special set of keys, which will they safeguard, they are probably not gonna give you the keys so that you can do what you please with them. So yeah, I think it adds and doesn't subtract much from the value of Kiisu itself. But what we're doing here is a one-time thing and it's permanent, as far as I know at least. After double checking all the commands and making sure that I was typing the right thing, I just switched to another Kiisu, because it's not always used, sometimes it's the hardware. And with another Kiisu, the crypto has key 0 command has finally showed me incorrect or missing key, which is a good thing because now I can totally type and insert the key I want inside that slot and then continue on filling all the other slots necessary. Okay, here it works, for some weird reason. For some reason, here I can store the master key into slot 0 and then I cannot check if it exists there. This is super weird, but success. So the key is stored to slot 0. Now we just need to repeat the process for all the other ones. We're gonna use simple now. All the rest ones are just simple keys. 2, 5, 6, and the string. Yay! I mean, for simplicity's sake, we can even just go and stick the same key in all the slots, but don't do that. That's bad, cryptographically bad. Slot 2 is already used. Huh. So I can't override them. It's a one-way procedure. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Looks like I've destroyed one of my Kiisus. Well, not destroyed, but cryptographically weakened it. Not as bad as showing all your key materials on YouTube, of course, but if you're gonna do it, take some time, don't show it to everyone. Find a quiet corner to insert all the keys. And maybe since you're the one generating them, it might be a good idea to stick them in print them on a piece of paper or just write them down, just in case. Maybe you'll need them later. Store them in a safe place and all the like. Flipper's command line has actually got a lot better, so now as you can see I can move the cursor left and right just by using the arrow keys, and I can delete the whole thing in one go with Ctrl W. Standard stuff, and it's now on the command line, which is nice. Okay, we've got 10 slots and we need one more. Just one more, because this is never going to be provisioned on its own, I don't think. Well, we can check. Crypto has key slot 11. No, nothing. So we have to add it ourselves. The reason why the firmware doesn't want to create this 11th key automatically, I think, is because the check fails. Not the original flipper keys, it errors out and doesn't proceed further. Cool. Yay! Success! So now I will disconnect from the command line. Okay, here's our Kiisu V3. You should be able to see it now. Here's me just pressing the button and it connects. Now I have both in here, which I can use to register. And no, I want another thing. I want to use the security key. Yay! Now you see it shows press OK to register. Done. Success. Now try to authenticate. Once again I have to get to the security menu. And yay! Authentication successful. Everything works, everyone is happy. I have no idea why it didn't work on Kiisu V4, but I checked it on V4A. It works there, and that's probably what most of you will be getting. Maybe V4B. So yeah, that's it. You just have to stick some random-ish keys inside and everything works fine. Why it works fine is another question. And it's a good question. Now, as far as I understand, Flipper's firmware provisions 10 keys at the factory. Then they do a check that these keys are the real keys. They have an IV, they have a known input, and they have an expected output. So each of the 10 keys is getting checked. It does the encryption, and if the output matches, everyone is happy, no error message, and everything works. But apparently, you need to have any key, and even though the check fails, the application itself, the U2F application, it will just create a file. Let me see if we can find the file. It's connected. Yeah. Show hidden files and the U2F. This thing. So this thing is the Flipper U2F file, which we just got. It's got some IV and data. And if I'm not mistaken, it's encrypted by slot number 2. Maybe. Probably. One of the first slots is used to encrypt the data in the text file. And then doesn't matter which key you put there. If it can encrypt, it can decrypt. Now, there's a weird app I found while doing my research. A simple tool used to manage secure enclave in Flipper 0. I checked this Flipper enclave manager FAP, and sadly it says that the app is outdated. So using the command line to manage your keys is the only way I know that works. Maybe it will be updated later. Maybe it has some issues already. No, that's probably something different. So what could be done? What could be done going forward? Actually, one thing is Kiisu's devs could provision a set of keys and try and keep them secure and everything. But that's not very interesting. That's like making another set of keys which are not matched to Flipper, and then you'll have to do the same checks over again. So I think it's just easier not to use very secure keys, but to use some interesting keys, because it's actually a lot of data. If we open a hex editor and get something for it, like not key Flipper, but like the last one. This is actually 32 bits, so you can put 32 letters here. And if I remember correctly, BEP39, the longest word in the mnemonic phrase can be 8 letters. It's 7 or 8, I don't really remember. So you can have here words like access, I don't know, maybe gold, and here winter. I don't remember the word list, doesn't matter. The thing is, you can put a lot of data. There are 100 slots, so you can get 3 kilobytes of data in. But even with the first 10, you can use them to hide something like a crypto key inside, maybe. And then when something of value is inside, hackers gonna hack maybe. At least that would be much more interesting than trying to break Flipper's encryption just for no reason at all, just to get Flipper's keys and so that everyone will be happy. But this way, if there is some hidden value inside of every Kiisu is the same, all of them have the same keys provisioned, but it's not just a security key, but also some cryptocurrency key. That would be crazy, and I think that would draw a lot of attention to actually breaking this STM32 WB55 chip. Security research backed by financial incentive. That would be impressive. And that would really make, I don't know, ST very unhappy if they're... Yeah, somebody on Kiisu's Discord, they said that maybe the chip can be glitched, maybe it can somehow, maybe the keys can be carved out, but just doing research, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes not only skill and knowledge, but also special equipment, and that costs money. So if there's money involved, there probably would be a lot of interest. And if not, we could just get keys provisioned. I mean, it's not very hard to script everything I did. So just all this crypto nonsense, that's totally scriptable. And you can have 10 keys. I think I've been rambling long enough. Thank you for listening to me, and bye bye.